friends and family. Just want to start off with saying Happy Martin Luther King Day. Today, I just want to discuss some things that I think, as me, that's very important that we kind of need to pay attention to. Um, this one's going to be kind of long because there's a lot of issues that I think need to be touched on that's going on around the world. And this is specifically going to be for the black community because we need to hear a lot of what I'm about to say. Unfortunately, it's probably going to hurt a lot of people's feelings and there's going to be a lot of feedback, but that's what I want because that's going to help us come to a conclusion to how we fix some of the problems that we're going through today, right now, as we speak. So as I kick this off, like I said, I'm going to bring in a couple of different topics, especially now because it's Martin Luther King Day and the dream that he had was nothing compared to what's going on in our world today. I think he'd be very disappointed. Even though we're not doing it for him, it should be for us, but we should be doing it for each other, which is very important. So I'm going to start off with, a lot of the things we're hearing about today is, like I've discussed before, relationships within the black community, excuse me. And with that being said, we have a lot of, single young women, moms who has a high expectancy of what a man should be. And they're finding it disappointing that these men today aren't to their expectations. What I'm gonna say to that issue is a lot of you single moms raise these men. So if you have a complaint about how these young men were raised or how these young men treat other women, well, first off, you need to look at yourself because you are the one who raised that young man. Now, I'm not gonna put this as a blaming game or say anybody's really at fault because there is somebody or people at fault, but it's not within our community. The reason why we have to look at they were single black women raising single black men was because there were no black men around for different types of reasons. Okay, whether it be jail, whether it be drugs or whatever the case may be, there is a reasoning as to why these things are happening. What we're failing to realize is that this trend is continuously happening and the reason why these things are done and how it's affecting us today. Now, like I said, if you look on the internet and everywhere else, you see all these conversations about, from young women, well, men ain't this or men ain't that and vice versa. And then you're hearing situations now where men don't even want to be bothered with women because of, their mindset, the women's mindset. Again, to the young man or the young men around here, we were raised, some of us, let me not say we, some of us were raised by single moms. So we went off of what they were teaching us. Again, they didn't have that masculinity trait, even though we have both masculine and feminine in us, but they didn't have the masculinity trait to be a man to show you, some of the things. Now, again, there are some women who did an excellent job. I'm not knocking them. But for the ones who are complaining, these men ain't nothing or, they don't bring nothing to the table and whatever the case may be. Again, these are young men raised by single women. So if you have a complaint, it's a complaint to that woman for raising that young man the way she did, okay, for whatever reason that she had. Okay, looking past that, like I said, the reason we need to the reason we need to stop pointing fingers and blaming is because we are not responsible for how things turned out. What do I mean by that? Okay, the reason why, like I said, black men weren't in the house was because of either being in jail or killed. It was one or the other. You get what I'm saying? And then they say, well, what brought them to go to jail? Drugs. Okay, yes, there's a lot of young men out here that were selling drugs till this day, getting killed left and right behind, the drug game. Now, think about this for a minute. Where did that come from? How did drugs get here? Because if a lot of us don't have passports and a lot of stuff can't be grown here, you get what I'm saying, with the exception of like marijuana, but there's other things that can't be grown here in order for us to possess to sell. So they got to be coming from somewhere else. Now, if a lot of America, think about this, we didn't back then own boats, which we do now. You get what I'm saying? And a lot of things come in by boat, okay, and then you have a lot of rich people nowadays who are buying boats. So how are things getting in? Okay, back then we didn't have this commodity at any moment. You know what I'm saying? We didn't have the rich of the rich out there buying boats left and right. What happened was it was being distributed. And I'm going to use the same thing with guns. Okay, we can't, a 14, 15-year-old can't go into a gun store and buy a gun. So these guns have to be put on the streets, in a certain way in order for it to be, distributed in the community. What am I getting at? These types of things are what caused the demise of our people. You understand? Not only did drugs take away fathers from neighborhoods, but it caused an addiction of not just the man, but also women and now children. And not just an addiction for the drug, but an addiction to have, to get, and to obtain. Mean willing to kill, steal, or do whatever they got to do to maintain that high. You get what I'm saying? Or to have access to that drug. Again, something that we don't have control of. So in the previous video, I had talked about when it comes to, the black community being controlled. These are just some of the how can I say this? These are just some of the points. Okay, these are just some of the facts that I have to make that people can actually sit back and see, or even look it up yourself to figure out. Well, damn, he's telling the truth. Okay, so when I talk about us trying to be, or us being controlled, this is exactly what's happening. We are being blinded by what they're trying to do to us. Okay. And for the most part, we are following it. Okay. Martin Luther King had a dream. Okay. His dream ain't what it is today. Yes, we come some ways, but if you really look at it, we fell way back. Okay. We have a generation now of black community who can't read because they don't want to put into our school systems. Okay. They rather put guns on the street to kill each other off. They rather put drugs on the street to kill each other off. That causes addiction and everything else. Okay. People are not catching on to the reasoning as to why they're doing the things that they're doing. Okay. If a black relationship can't make it, that means there's no more black babies. Okay. And if there is, it's out of wedlock, which is going to cause, if people don't know the law, that's how women get child support, whatever the case may be. Again, I'm not pointing fingers. I'm not trying to make this that type of a situation. I'm just trying to point out how things are done, okay, to us specifically, okay? And in addition to that, there's a lot of other things that people fail to realize, government programs and all this. This is not for you. This is not for us, okay? This is for their benefit. What I'm proposing is we need to stop, okay? We need to stop blaming each other. We need to stop, putting each other down, for things that we did not have no control over from the beginning. Okay, we can have control of it if we take back our power. Hear what I'm saying? Take back our power. If we take back our power and understand what's being done to us and how it's being done to us, then we can start to make the change. But as long as we keep going along with what they say, how they say do it, and we keep getting attracted to what they want us to be attracted to, their entertainment, you know what I mean, their violence, get what I'm saying, and everything else that they bring into the table, we have to stop that. Okay, so like I said, in the future, everybody today is so worried about, a pocketbook or this car or that car. They're trying to take away our food. They're trying to make it so that way, we have to pay for water. That's free. When it rains, they want to put a tax if you collect water. Does that make any sense to y'all? But yet and still, y'all worried about Cat Williams. You know what I mean? Y'all worried about so many other things that are not important. Who's going to win the Super Bowl? Okay? Them playing the Super Bowl ain't going to pay your bills next week when you need food on your table. And they're saying, well, wait a minute. The food costs are so high, you can't afford that. You get what I'm saying? Oh, you're about to lose your job now because we have robots to do your job. You get what I'm saying? So then what are you going to do? These are the things that people aren't paying attention to, but that's how they want it. They don't want you to pay attention to it so that when it does happen, you get what I'm saying? You have no defense whatsoever. You're not saving your money. You know what I'm saying? You're not putting into your own future. You're giving them back the money that they gave you to spend in the first place. You get what I'm saying? Not to better yourself, which you're supposed to, but again, to put it back into their pocket. This is what they want. Okay, they want black and black men and black women to not get along so that we're not producing. Do you understand what I'm saying? So that way, they have more and more control. What do they call that? Segregation. Let's keep it 100. You know what I mean? They're trying to do things to where we're not paying attention, but we are allowing it to happen. Keep you guys heads up. I love you. I'll talk to you guys in the next one.